Good afternoon, good afternoon. This is Helana here live on The Source with you each and every single Friday morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are in the last hour stretch, and I just can't tell you how much I'm happy that you are here with me, that you are tuned in, that you are dialed in, that you are present, that you are in alignment, just all of those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things. And I really, really hope that you've been enjoying this conversation today. I know I have. Such a diverse group of folks coming through. And I'm really blessed and honored to have my previous guest, who was J.R. Morris, and now his dad, K.D. Morris. See how he's, you know, do that there to flip that? So K.D. is a professional concert, runway, fashion, and event photographer, and he's quite eloquent, if I may say so myself. Philadelphia native, as well as a spoken word artist. He's a producer and both photography and poetry instructor at Temple University in the PASCEP program, with almost 4 decades of experience in both areas. He has references, and he is committed to the crafts. KD, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
You look quite familiar. You look like I've known you for a couple of decades through our association.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Yes, I originally met you through my husband.
Yes.
And it's been such a cool opportunity getting to hear your mentorship of him, you know what I'm saying, and your opportunities and your like wisdom that you just be kind of dropping on the slide, but not that slide, but super direct.
I didn't say anything.
Exactly. So I'm really glad that we're going to be able to have this conversation. So you have a lot of really cool things kind of going on, which we will definitely get to, you know, the events and the things that are coming up in the second half of the segment. But starting off, you know, I know that you're a Philadelphia native. Are you born and raised in Philly?
Born and raised, North Philadelphia.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about what it was like growing up in Philly, you know?
Well, in the 60s, 70s, that was the developmental years, learning friendships, what it means to be a boy, and identifying with different cultures. In my community at the time, we had a melting pot. And people who I thought were black were actually either Panamanian, Cuban. You know, when I would talk to them, they speak Spanish.
Wow.
Then I learned that what the difference between a German and an Italian, because the Germans had the candy store, the Italian had the meat store. You know, everyone had their own place. So sports, I learned how to accept failure growing up. You know, how to pick myself up. My mother let me fall. She said, I'm not always going to be here to do it for you. You got to learn how to do it yourself.
Wow.
So that's how life was growing up in the early part. Then in high school on, sports, 7 sports, college, academics, emphasize that, you know, to my sons. You know, my mother said, you're not going to get rich working with somebody else, you got to have a hustle. So I always hustled. And then I never knew when to turn it off, even to this day.
Wow.
And the interesting part of being a father and a teacher is learning from your children. Because my son said something last year. He said, Dad, I know you always did what you could for us, and we had everything, but you didn't know when to be there for us. Wow. Because I was so busy doing for, not being for. So in the last 3 years, I had to start being for now.
Wow. And so what has that transition been like? That's got to be, like, because I can relate to it and understand it, because I think my mom was in the same situation of like, okay, well, I'm going to provide for. Right. You know what I'm saying? But that being for, that's so key. And it's an important part of a child's development, you know, and that parent-child relationship. And then, of course, as you get older as a parent and as your children turn into adults, the relationships between parents and children change anyway, just because of the aging process. But then in addition, how to be more for your children than to do for them. How are you navigating that? Well,
first we had to fix some things. Things that we are all sides responsible for. The accountability factor, and now in our family, the reparations in our side. And because I can't do them all at once, I got to fix them one at a time. Because if I try to fix them all at once, then I'll be back where I started from, trying to do for and not be for. So I'm doing for one and not for the other. Gotcha. So I'm trying to find a way to incorporate all the healing at once.
Wow. Where did you get this idea that that change needed to take place? Like, did you just wake up one day like...
No, it was a process, because when I started looking back, because I lost both my parents. And my father and I didn't have a relationship, but we were acquainted. But
Okay.
I grew
Okay.
up independent and with an independent way of thinking because my mother always said, I'm not going to be here to do that for you.
Right. Right.
So I had to learn how to do things on my own. So that's my way of teaching. I'll teach you how to be independent.
And then go do it.
Right, and go do it. But also teach people how to be independent of an employer. You know, because one day all of our occupations could be taken away, but if you don't know how to be self-sufficient by any means, then what do you have?
Right.
Dependence on someone else. So the part of that transition was now depending on my children to teach me how to be a better parent. You know, even if I can't be a co-parent, I still have to be a parent.
Wow.
Even, you know, I have a wife. So, and she has children. So now we got a blended family, and then they're grown. You know, and I have mine who are, you know, grown and still developing. I mean, you know, and they're finding their way. So, at this point, at 56, I have, I guess I have equal years ahead of me as I do behind me.
Right.
So everything that I learned, I sit back and watch them. And instead of doing, as most parents do, say, don't touch it, it's hot, I let them touch it. And then when they need the help, ask for it, rather than always jumping in
To prevent.
to prevent, I let them fall.
I was just having a conversation with a girlfriend about that. Her kids are much younger. She has like toddlers and like, you know, 3, 5, 8, like in that range. And I was talking to her about like how difficult that must be as a parent to see your child, or even if you're not a parent, because I don't have any kids yet, but like even just seeing like my husband make a mistake, or like seeing my sister make a mistake, like or my best friend, I'm like, wait, don't do that because, and this is why, and you know, like it's almost like you want to prevent harm for the people that you love, but yet that exact challenge is what brings them to the change that they need, is what teaches them the lessons, the resiliency. So if you prevent all the problems, how do you get that, you know what I'm saying, how do you get that strength? They never learn
the why.
Right.
And once they learn the why, then they understand the when, what, and where, and how. It all comes into place. Because
break that down for me a little bit.
So let's say my multifaceted lessons always ended with me asking questions.
Okay.
The first important question I remember asking when I was 10, I asked my babysitter, who redirected me to my preacher, pastor of the church, was if God made Adam and Eve, where did everyone else come from if they had 2 sons? At 10, I knew that it took a man and a woman to make a child.
Right.
So when I talked to the minister, the preacher, the evangelist, she said, well, back then it was, you know, they had other children. It was okay for brothers to marry their sisters, like that. And I said, well, I have a sister. Can I marry? Oh, no, the rules changed. I'm like, when? Show me in the Bible where it changed. So I always sought answers.
Inquisitive.
Everything. So when I learned how to play the piano, I'm like, why am I hitting this note? Where's the middle C again? Oh, this is it. And where do I go from there? Anywhere you want? Okay. Drawing. I did not want anybody to teach me how to draw something they wanted me to draw. I wanted to draw what I wanted to draw. And that's the rebellious part of me.
Right. Well, everybody can relate to that.
Right. Yeah.
I can relate to that.
You know, maybe it's a sad in me. So, but as I grew older in the same field, even as a gymnast, I had a coach tell me, you know, we would say semi and it's summy. And it's short for somersault. But we was always saying semi. And then he said, well, semi is spelled semi like a truck. So when he broke it down, there was a little pushback. And but then I was in high school, and that's when I started understanding the why. So even in photography, I have mentors, even to this day. Once you understand the why, everything else falls into place. No matter what it is in life, if it's part of a transition, a relationship, if somebody hurts you,
right?
Why are you hurt? Why did it affect you? Why did they do it? And why did you let it happen if you saw it coming, but yet you did nothing to prevent it? So I guess the why and accountability fall into place.
Yeah. It makes me wonder what the answer then is to the question of why you decided to focus in this, as you said, you know, you have equal years in front of you as you do behind you. Why did you decide to focus on enriching and nourishing your relationships with your sons at this point? Because I think there are a lot of people who recognize there might be a need for a why. Like they might see something like, all right, cool, I actually need to do something about this. But I don't find as many people who see the problem actually take action to solve it. And so what is your why as to enriching and nurturing the relationships with your sons right now? Why is this a priority for you?
They reached out to me in their own ways, and they expressed how I made them feel, either through action, inaction, presence, or lack thereof. Because sometimes I learned when I was around my dad, it didn't matter that he was there, because whatever I wanted him to protect me from happened anyway.
Interesting.
So maybe the times when I was with my sons, I was protecting them from the world, but not from me.
Right.
You know, while protecting them from the enemies of the state, I was the enemy in their state of mind.
Exactly.
So I need, and that's what I'm fixing.
Right. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And if I can just ask one more in this vein, because I think this is something even I've personally been reflecting on, you know, with my relationship with my mom, and how a lot of times as adult children, right, we have to check in with that inner child, that younger version of ourselves, and we might still have anger towards our parents for something they did when we were a kid or didn't do when we were a kid or whatever. Like, you're talking about that protection thing. And yet, I know for me, like, I felt a lot of guilt around having anger towards my mom, even because she's an amazing person, right? I know she did everything she could do. I know she was teaching me what she was taught. And yet at the same time, like, empathy for my mom and anger towards my mom can exist in the same space. Is that kind of what, you know what I'm saying, what's going on for your kids too? Is like
I can't speak to what's sharing space within them, but I know from my existence everything is as it should be. And now is how do you deal with what should be? Right. And then if it's something like the gray area, some things you put in the gray area, and if it doesn't fit in the gray area, you delete it or you fix it. Right. You know, if you don't, it's like how you season your food may not be how I season mine. Right. So you may have to prepare it halfway to suit both of us and let us add what we need. So I'm meeting them halfway. So I take from them what I need, and they take from me what they need. I love that. I love that. That's incredible. You know, they call that conscious parenting these days. Oh, wow. Psych major. Little new fancy terms. But I love that you've been able to share so much about that experience as a father and in reflection of how your fatherhood evolves as you grow throughout your life, because I know that a lot of my listeners are dealing with young people or dealing with young adult children and are having a difficult time navigating the changing world, the technology, the, you know, education, like even with, you know, and I just had your son on last segment, and, you know, he's an entrepreneur, he's an activist, he's an artist, he's all these spaces. And at the same time, I'm sure there are ideas that he has about how the world should be that are very different than the ideas that you had maybe when you were a young person, or very similar. How are you at 56 navigating the changing times, you know, the technology booms and like the Siris and the Alexas and, you know, the young kids and all their young kid things? I don't know. Talk to me a little bit about your perspective and how you're navigating it at 56, like this current day age of change. At my age, I have an advantage they won't. I knew you were going to say that. Only because I know the Dewey Decimal System. Yes, I know the Dewey Decimal System. Right. But how many people after you know the Dewey Decimal? Unless their parents are taking them to the library. Nobody knows about that. Encyclopedia, how to read, how to pick up a book. Okay. You know, because, and I don't blame the parents. I blame the educational system that's forcing it on them. Putting iPads in the classroom instead of books in the classroom. Yeah, it may be more economical to put a PDF on a tablet and have the kids go home and swipe through it. But if they don't know what it feels like to have the rain fall in their hands just to wet the pages or right at the favorite part, or to drop their favorite book in a puddle of water, or have somebody steal their book bag with their favorite book in it, or lend a book that you never get back. All they worried about is that technology in their hand and what else all it can do, but what can you do to enrich yourself? They're dependent on technology, but how many of them actually go into a library? Right. So are you predicting that technology could fail us? And if it wouldn't fail on the knowledge sense, it would fail on the social sense. Okay. Because we have no need to ask, hey, how do you fix this? When all they're going to do is pick up the phone and Google it.
Right.
and then become independent of each other while they're seeking independence for themselves. And every movie that came out that leads up to this spoke on this. Soylent Green, what's the one, the Hunter Games, whatever it's called?
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games, right. All that. The rich are over here, we down here fighting them, you know. When you think of like what apartheid does, you get one side weapons, one side food. We get one part of the country, education and housing, other one technology and music. So they depend on technology just to get the music, while this side is building a foundation of wealth. We're just partying and you know, and everything else. So we have to, you know, now, and I don't want to be a cliche, but Spike Lee said it at, you know, in the movie, wake up. And we have to wake up beyond what social media is delivering. Because, you know, my son is a very strong individual, social activist in his way. My social activism
is different.
Is through academics and education. Because if you don't teach yourself anything, then what happens across the street, if you don't care about that, then why do you care what's happening in your own house? Because what happens across the street can end up in your house.
And I think that's what we're going through. Right. You know? That disconnect between my house and your house, not caring about what happens outside of our world, and then dealing with the consequences when it does leak over, and not having those conversations, which I talked about earlier in the segment before, and also not knowing when to bridge the gaps. You know what I mean? I have a couple more questions about this topic. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we will continue the conversation with K.D. Morris, a published photographer and professional and educator, and just an artist, an activist, a producer, just all the year-round, just everyday guy that is over here dropping gems. So make sure that you keep it locked. We're going to take a quick break. This is 96.1 FM, WURDradio.com, 900 on your AM dial. This is Helana on The Source. We'll be right back.
The Source.
The Source.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Special guest host Renation Platan every Monday in April.
The Source. Exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
Listen live at WURDradio.com.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
Nina Simone, For Women, is a musical play on stage now through March 31st at People's Light in Malvern, featuring hits like Cinnamon and To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. Nina Simone, For Women, imagines the legendary songstress at the site of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, the event that shifted Simone's career from nightclub singer to civil rights activist. For tickets, call 610-644-3500 or visit peopleslight.org.
Enterprise Exterminators will evaluate and eliminate whatever pest problems you may have, specializing in bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits available. Hurry down to 4943 Wayne Avenue now. 215-849-7070.
My mom is stronger than anyone I've ever known. Growing up when life got hard, her strength helped pull us through. Even after her heart failure diagnosis, she remained stronger than ever.
My family's support keeps me strong. Together, we're rising above heart failure.
Heart failure doesn't have to steal your strength. For simple steps you can take to help prevent, improve, or manage heart failure, go to riseabovehf.org.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you to keep bacteria in food from making you ill with 4 simple steps.
This will be a walk in the park.
Clean. Wash hands and surfaces often.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Keep raw meats away from ready-to-eat foods.
Yep.
Cook. Make sure meat, poultry, and seafood is cooked to the right temperature.
Fire in the hole!
and chill. Refrigerate food promptly. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
You're listening to The Source
on Word Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome back to the show. This is Halana here, live on The Source with you each and every single Friday morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on WURDradio.com, 96.1 FM, 900 on your AM dial. And I have with me a really beautiful energy, Katie Morris, spoken word artist, advocate, educator, producer, and concert photographer, your year-round, all-around artist who is self-contained and ready to build and work with you. He is also the co-host and performance duo with Reddy Williams of the spoken word series known as
Fire and Ice.
Fire and Ice.
Yeah, we
open for several legends, including the late Gil Scott-Heron and Amiri Baraka. He has also worked with Umar bin Hassan of the Last Poets, and others on his projects, as well as he is a music producer. He has produced and recorded projects for North Philly's Finest, The Shyster, The Final Call, Miss Betty's Son, and internationally known poet Talam Acey, Sweet Remembrance on his CD California Suite, Amun Miraz, Philly Youth Poetry Movement, and The One Sun Lion Ra. He is published in several media outlets, including Signature Bride and Source magazines, as well as has photographed President Obama, Philly, New York, and Atlantic City Fashion Weeks, as well as Essence Music Festival, the Trumpet Awards in Atlanta, with a 3-hour premiere fashion event to start the program, and countless quantities of concerts and fashion events. In 2017, he opened Candlelight Studio 215, which is a beautiful photography studio here in Philadelphia, where he teaches classes and workshops, does community advocacy events, and just all around amazing space. So let's talk a little bit about your business and, you know, let folks know what it is that you do.
All right, so I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to go to the Headshots for Help. That initiative started 2 days after Christmas, when on Christmas they were talking to people on the news, what they, you know, downtown, interviewing them, camera in their face, mic, and all that stuff. But in the background, I saw some homeless people walking, and I knew it was cold. And I said, forget the person that's able. What's going on with that guy right there?
Right.
So on the 27th, I had the first Headshots for Help and received 32 blankets.
Wow.
Then 3 weeks later, I did another one and got 51 blankets.
Wow.
So then in February, did clothing. March, Women's Month, we did everything that a woman could need, personal
hygiene products.
Yeah, hygiene products and everything, clothes. The one coming up on the 21st of April is for young women and men who can't afford prime wardrobe. Formal wear for young boys and young ladies, used or new. And if you can't do that, the non-perishable food items.
Wow.
All charitable organizations must register in advance to receive. You just can't walk and say I'm with the American Red Cross and think I'm going to let you walk out the door with it. If you didn't click that link and I didn't get a printout and put it up for everybody to see, when you come through, because I want to keep everything above ground. I don't want anybody to think I'm keeping this stuff. I'm not.
Right.
I wanted, and I've been reaching out to different organizations. I haven't been able to communicate, but I got information. I want to work with 100 Black Men. That's one organization. What I want to do with them is, whatever they have going on, take Headshots for Help along with them. I want to do stuff with the people who work in the legal system, judges and lawyers, who have people who are in intervention programs, let's say like ironically Jesse Smollett, where they have to do community service, make Headshots for Help part of that community service, where when people come to make these deliveries of these goods, they take the list and take the items to the charity.
That's amazing.
On behalf of Headshots for Help, so I don't have to wait for them to come get it.
Right.
So if that's part of the interventionary program,
amazing,
then that'll work out. Then I want to do one in June for all musicians, artists, and everything for Music Month, and have a networking event where the charitable organizations are there, can meet these artists, so if they need to work with them, or if they need an artist, visual artist, poet, dancer, whatever your art is, then you come, and that's your audition per se. So as a photographer, it started, I remember, there's a picture in my mother's photo album that I have. It was a Christmas morning, I was about 5, and I was imitating her taking my picture. A few years later, I took a camera apart, put it back together. I got a beating. In 5th or 6th grade, she put me with a photographer, and I studied under him on the weekends. And then when I got my first camera, you know, trial and error, one mentor, well, elder, he wasn't a photographer, he said, keep your mistakes, because that blurry picture could be art for someone else.
Wow.
So now in the digital age, there's a London photographer I associate with through social media, Susan Sosa. She has a series of blurry images that she's doing.
Wow.
So as a spoken word artist, and when The Last Poets came out, WDAS AM, Georgie Woods played The Last Poets, Blessed Are Those That Struggle. So of course, in the 60s, whatever we heard on the radio, that's what we did. But my mother, I said, what is that? She said, it's poetry. So I wrote my first poem called Somebody and Nobody. And she told me what it was. Again, then I had good teachers, and then and I kept writing and writing. And then when the thing was, when somebody say James Johnson, who I grew up with, but his name is Osei, and he has a long last name, but I'm not going to try and butcher it. He gave me my first feature at Glorious. And then from there, and then I met Ronnie, and we formed Fire and Ice, and we started performing and touring. Then we started teaching in the schools and going around the country teaching in the schools.
Wow.
Then we performed with Black Ice and The Last Poets. I mean, the Twin Poets. But then we all had a show together at Lincoln University with The Last Poets. And Greg was there.
Wow.
That's when Greg was, I think, in the senior year at Lincoln.
Okay.
And he had us come up there, and it was right after September 11th. It was that October, a month later. And we were in the back, getting ready to go on stage, and Baba was playing on the djembe. And we all start freestyling. America Got a New Nigga. And, you know, we was going, new nigga, and then stuff like that. And I freestyle and end up writing, America's Got a New Nigga, his eyes and hair is like the old niggas, brown, sometimes black, hair straight, sometimes curly. And we just kept going. And then the One Son Lion Rob met him. And the irony of meeting people, I met the Twin Poets. I saw them at the Million Man March. I took their picture. Then they performed on my stage at the Laugh House.
Right.
The One Son Lion Rob on stage with Mandrew, I took his picture. Now we in the venue together. And I'm like, I know you from somewhere. And all these people who I photographed are on a permanent display in the museum in San Francisco, Museum of the African Diaspora.
Wow.
On a permanent display. I have, my work is there. So being an artist, a music producer, sang on the choir in church like most people growing up in the 60s, grandmother in the house, you're going to church. Much as I hated getting up on Sunday morning, but I went, sang on the choir, banged on the keyboard, piano, went to college. I wanted to major in music. Grandmother said major in art. I did better in music than I did in art, only because I wanted to learn music.
Right. You had the
art was
motivation.
already in me. So, but I also did better in business than I did in my major, so far as my growth. And because I did 2 summers at Wharton School. And then when my son was born, when he got around 5 or 6, I said, look at everything I've done and surpassed me. And I always reminded him of that.
Wow.
Because you'll see what I'm doing, and just because you don't see me doing doesn't mean I stopped. But if that's the point, you see where I stopped, then you go past that. Because we could leave money as wealth or knowledge as wealth. And if I don't have the money, at least give him the ways and means to make his own. And I don't know what he shared with you, but he is on that journey. And it's his, and he gets credit for all that.
That's incredible. That's incredible. I want to just let the folks listening know, if you want to talk to KD and just give him a word of encouragement, this young man here in the studio, but please do give us a call. The number is 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. 215-634-8065. If you would like to talk with KD or just, connect with his work, or even perhaps you have an organization in mind, or you have a connection that can donate to Headshots for Help. This initiative that Katie has started is incredible, and I think it's so powerful to see the impact of what one person with an idea can literally make happen. And so if you're affiliated with an organization or a church or a nonprofit and you have access to amplify his message, take one of his, posts and repost it or send it out to your email list, right? Or if you can come yourself and bring a large donation, or if you are part of a fraternity or sorority that wants to use Headshots for Help as an opportunity to give back locally, like direct impact, not something that is imaginary or invisible that you do a transaction online and you never see or hear from those people again.
You got to be tangible. I don't accept any cash. Some people came and wanted to give money. I said, no, I can't take your money. I said, take this money and go buy something.
And bring it back.
And bring it back. You can give me the receipt with your name on it. If you need a receipt, I'll give you a receipt. Because there's a young brother, well, not a young, there's actually this man's older than me. He's a photographer in San Diego. And I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants his name out. But he inboxed me and said, yo, I appreciate what you're doing.
Wow.
This is what I want to do. And he said, I inspired and motivated him. So he's going to do something similar, only he's going to do it for breast cancer.
Wow.
And what he's going to do is open up his studio for photographers to pay $50 to come in. They get the space is there, it's for the day. And then whatever they shoot, they have to, the people they shoot have to donate.
Wow.
So all the proceeds, I said, well, when you set up your GoFundMe, whatever, I'll contribute some money just because.
That's amazing.
And then he said, well, why don't you just come out? I said, well, we have to plan that, but if I come out, I want to do what I do there because I know what I'm doing with it. And then I'll help you set it up. I said, as long as we go under the umbrella of Headshots for Help. And you got to use Jot form and, now help walk them through it. I'll be going to North Carolina to do the same thing with other photographers.
Wow, that's incredible. That's like a whole movement.
That's what I want it to be.
Oh, I'm in love with that. I'm in love with that. So let's just get this drilled into everybody's head. Headshots for Help.
That's all
you
it
need
is.
to be a part of this movement. It's a grassroots movement started by KD Moore, sitting right here in front of me. His idea, he is an accomplished and famed concert, runway, and fashion event photographer, and he uses his talents to help other people, and he can help you do the same. So if you're listening and you are a photographer, whether amateur or professional,
as long as you have a camera.
As long as you have a camera, you can actually reach out to KD and be a part of this Headshots for Help momentum. If you are part of an organization, a church or a school or a nonprofit, and you every single year are looking for a give back program, something that's going to have direct Philadelphia community impact, you can help with Headshots for Help. If you are just a regular person listening and you just a grandmom or uncle or a pop or just a young person who has a job, and if you anybody listening, you can be a part of Headshots for Help. In fact, how exactly does the program work? So let's say people want to show up on Sunday to Candlelight Studio 215, and they show up between 5 and 8 p.m. on this coming Sunday, which I believe is April...
March. Well, mine is... Kyle, my son has something.
Oh, okay,
he has
tell
an
me
event on the 31st.
Tell me your date.
Mine is April 21st.
Okay, boom.
From
So
12 to
it's
7.
not this weekend. Sorry, y'all. April 21st from 12 to 7 at Candlelight Studio 215, which is located, what's the address?
2930 Jasper Street.
Okay. So if folks want to show up on April 21st from 12 to 7 p.m. at Candlelight Studio 215, which is
2930 Jasper Street,
2930
Suite 201.
Jasper Street, Suite 201.
Yeah, you gotta know what
on the
knock.
moment. Yes, if you want to show up on April 21st from 12 to 7 p.m. at Candlelight Studio 215, which is 2930 Jasper Street, what exactly happens when you show up? Let's say you come with, since this is the Women's Wellness Month,
Well,
so you're bringing, what's the theme for this
There's going to
month?
be prom dresses.
Okay, so for young
Newer
people.
used prom dresses or formal wear for young men who can't afford or in a situation where they can't get a prom dress or tuxedo or
because
suit,
those are expensive.
shoes, whatever it is. No cultural bias, anything. Bring
open.
it. And once you walk through the door, you bring your donation. We introduce you to the photographers that's there. You can spend as much or little time there as you want. You don't have to have your picture taken.
Okay.
But once you do, you'll leave with something, because I'll print out at least one of them and give it to you to walk with.
Wow.
And the other photographers have their own rules, but mine I'll give you something to walk with. And then for the photographers, it builds their portfolio, builds their social awareness. It lets people know that they are also there.
Exactly.
So we don't have to know each other, ever work together, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and not everybody's my client. So you may come to my event, but you may meet the photographer that you want to shoot your wedding.
Right, right.
It doesn't matter to me. It's just me putting people together for a cause.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Y'all need to come out. I'm just going to say, put this on your calendar now. March is coming to an end. April is coming up soon. You need to spend April 21st, which is a Sunday,
It's Easter Sunday, too.
It's Easter Sunday, so you can come in your best dressed Easter
You're already
Easter
dressed,
wear.
You might as well get it.
Yep. April 21st from 12 to 7. Come and get your beautiful family photo or your headshot for your professional space. Or if you're listening and you're an entrepreneur and you're just getting started and you're like, I can't afford headshots, or if you're getting into acting, or if you're
that's the one time you're going to get
so many things. That's the one time you're going to get a free, professionally done headshot. And I can say, because I know, because Katie is taking pictures of me and my husband, and they're beautiful and phenomenal. You're going to get a free, this is the only time, and I know photographers don't do a lot of free stuff.
Don't do a lot of free stuff.
Because their value is very high, and their work and, the years of expertise you've put into becoming a professional, it's valuable.
But it's also, I started a group 12 years ago called Operation Give Back.
Yeah.
Where I teach photography for free.
Wow.
But that's only online in that group.
Exactly.
So everything is an exchange.
Right.
Now, when it first started, it was myself as the lead, but Zamani Feelings was one of the people who I mentored. Now he's shooting NFL sports.
Wow. See, you never know the
you
reach
never know where you're going to go.
of what could be. So, yeah, y'all put this date on your calendar, April 21st from 12 to 7 p.m. at Candlelight Studio 215, 2930 Jasper Street. Come and bring a donation for prom wear. So the theme for the April month is, formal wear for young men and young girls, culturally open, non-gender specific, doesn't matter. Bring what you have. In exchange for your donation, you will get on-the-spot photography, a headshot for you, headshots for help. In exchange for your donation and helping give back to the community, you will get on the spot a headshot done for you, and you may even get it printed out right then, but you will get it electronically sent to you as a result for your donation. If for some reason you don't have any formal wear that you can donate or give to the cause, you can always bring canned goods. And so I want you, non-perishable, items that folks can use to be donated. I want for you to make sure that you commit to this, because this is an important initiative, and this is some opportunity that you can have to do what might feel like a small act, but all of us doing small acts together can make a really big wave of change. And if you've ever walked down the city streets of Philadelphia and felt like what was going on kind of got under your skin, but you didn't know what to do, I'm giving you an opportunity to do something about it. Just as small as it's going to take for you to go, look through your closet and donate, or pick up some extra canned goods from the grocery store and bring them. Not only are you doing something good, you're doing something that is going to have a long reach, and you're going to get something for it. It's like a win-win-win on top. So make sure that you connect with KD. Come to Candlelight Studio 215 at 2930 Jasper Street on April 21st, Sunday from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. and get your free headshot in exchange for donating your non-perishable canned goods or prom dresses and formal wear and such for young people who are unable to afford prom, so that you can make a direct and influenceable and trackable and immediate impact on your city. Katie, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
That was awesome. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will